Hey, thanks for joining me on another episode of the Full Frontal Living podcast, or maybe you're joining me over on my YouTube channel. In any case, I'm so grateful that you're here. This is actually take 2 of this podcast episode because my fancy schmancy podcast mic decided to stop working. So after I had recorded the entire episode, I found out it sounded like I was speaking from underwater. So we are doing a redo on all of that. And today I'm talking once again about 4 practical and easy ways to manage your energy. So stay with me, and hopefully everything that comes out of my mouth this time is just as good as it was last time. So this is a really actually great example of one of the things I'm going to talk about within this acronym that I use to help my clients manage their energy. And part of it is learning how to manage your emotions. Now, there was that part of me that wanted to throw my podcast mic against the wall because it sucks when you do something and then it doesn't work out the way you want it to. And I used to be a person who would really lose my mind. Like, I would yell at my kids, I would yell at the computer, I would yell at everything. I would have that anger come through me because I did not know how to manage my emotions. And I'm going to talk to you guys today on this episode about how you can get better at that. Okay. So what I was referring to is an acronym that I actually took right out of the recovery community, the addiction recovery community. And the acronym is HALT. It stands for hungry, angry, lonely, tired. This is an acronym you are going to want to know, because when you can check in with yourself and say, am I in HALT? It will start to change your life, because you will start to make different choices and take responsibility for what is going on in your world, or recognize, oh, I'm feeling this way, I'm acting this way, I'm behaving this way because of X, Y, and Z. And these are the choices now I need to make in order to feel better. Now, what I find interesting about HALT, if you've been following me for any amount of time, you know that I am a professional athlete with the WBFF. I compete in fitness, which is super fun. It's a hobby for me. However, the sport of fitness, very similar to bodybuilding, requires that we get ultra lean when we go on stage. So there is a period in my diet where I'm running very low calories, very low carbohydrates. My sleep is disrupted. It's not the healthiest thing on the planet. Okay, I'm fully aware of that. But what always sticks with me is that during that time, I'm really having to navigate this feeling of HALT. So this hungry, angry, lonely, tired feeling that I'm going to dive into. And what I think about often, every single time I go through a dieting phase, is how many women live in a state of HALT day in and day out and don't even realize how crappy they are feeling, and that they could make different choices that would support them feeling so much better. So that is what today's episode is about, is how to keep you out of HALT, how to support you being responsible for managing your energy. So 4 practical and easy ways. And I know so many of you look for like fancy solutions, and I'm here to tell you that when you can do the ordinary things extraordinarily well, it will change your life. So let's dive into them, shall we? So the first one is hungry. What I know about women is they chronically undereat, and nutrition is foundational to you feeling your best. Would you ever get into a car and expect to drive across the country with no fuel in it? Yet how many of you get up in the morning, maybe you have a cup of coffee, maybe something little, most of you, many of you don't really eat anything, and then you carry on through the day. Lunch is kind of like whatever you can throw together. But what I'm getting at is, more often than not, food is an afterthought. You start eating in the evening and then you keep eating, and it's not necessarily food that is going to support your mood. It's not going to support how you want to feel in your body. It's not going to support how you want to look in your body. Because listen, I've been doing this work for long enough to know that most women are unhappy with their bodies. Yet at the same time, they're constantly abusing their bodies. So things we love and we value, we take care of. Are you treating your body like a luxury sports car, or are you treating it like a broken down, run down Chevy Chevette? I don't even know if those exist anymore. I think that was my first car, a Chevy Chevette. back in the day. Anyways, I digress. This isn't about perfect nutrition, but it is about taking responsibility for what healthy nutrition looks like for you. If you need support with this, head over to my website, lisacarpenter.ca/products. I have a book, I have a course all about teaching you around nutrition, so you understand the basics of protein, carbohydrates, and fats, and how to put them together to eat for performance. Because if you are following me, I know that you are an A-type personality. I know you want to perform at your best. I know you put a lot of pressure on yourself to be all the things, to do all the things. You have big goals and ambitions. You will not achieve what you want if you are not taking care of your nutrition, because it literally is the foundation for how your body is going to run. So again, it's not about being perfect, but it is about taking responsibility. You have to eat until the day you die. If you do not understand how to fuel your body properly, this is a place you are going to want to invest some time. We are living in a world right now that is more fixated on, how do I want to put this? We're more fixated on treating illness versus being committed to what wellness looks like. If you want to be committed to wellness and performing at your best, nutrition plays a huge role in that. I cannot scream that from the rooftops enough. It is not okay for you to get up and not feed your body and not make it a priority. Okay. So that's number one. If you are hungry, you are not going to feel your best. It's a huge part of HALT. And I'm sure you've heard the term hangry. When you haven't eaten enough, then all of a sudden your emotions get the best of you. It's because your body is literally begging you to take care of it, begging you to take care of it. So love and care for this amazing piece of machinery that you were given, because without your body, you don't get to have this life. Okay. So you would never starve your children. Don't starve yourself. Don't starve yourself. Eat for performance. You wouldn't send your kid to school and say, sorry, no food for you today, but go get straight A's. Yet how often are you expecting extraordinary results from yourself, but not giving your body the fuel it needs to run? Okay. Number two is angry or anxious, but this really applies to all emotions. Most people do not have emotional fluency. They are not tuned into how they're feeling. Their repertoire of feelings that they can experience, they can probably count on two hands, if that. And they don't recognize, and this might be you, that many of the behaviors that you're getting into, whether it's people pleasing, caretaking, overdoing, being busy all the time, seeking approval, chasing accomplishments, are really an attempt to not be present with your own emotions. So by not feeling our feelings, we actually get trapped in our feelings. The irony there, I know. So when you are feeling angry or anxious, excuse me, that's going to play into how you're showing up in the world. It's going to impact the choices that you're making. And listen, as somebody who lived from the neck up for most of my life, and I lived in a constant state of anxiety or resentment. So resentment is that's not a me problem. It's not a you problem. Or sorry, it's not a them problem. It's always a you problem. Resentment is about you, not what they were doing. And being anxious is, again, about you. And it's learning how to be with those emotions and take responsibility for them. I was anxious most of my life, and I didn't know I was anxious because I was doing all the things to avoid feeling that anxiety. Okay, so we must start to understand what it is we're feeling. So I want to ask you, how often do you ask the people that you care about, how are you feeling? Right? We approach people, how are you feeling today? You ask your kids, how was your day? You ask your partner, how was your day? How are you feeling? When was the last time you slowed down and paused and asked yourself how you were feeling? And actually waited for the answer and named the emotion. So if you have problems naming your emotions, head over to Pinterest and grab, just search for feelings wheel, and it'll give you a huge array of different emotions that we are able to feel as humans. Like I said, most people can count the emotions they can feel on two hands. I want to expand your repertoire. So I'm going to give you a simple exercise to pause and tune into how you're feeling. I learned this in a recovery room with very professional people, all of us sitting around each other looking like, what do you mean? How am I feeling? I'm fine. Fine is not a feeling. Okay. Fine is not a feeling. So we learned this sitting in a room with like the kindergarten pictures on the walls with little feeling pictures, like feeling faces with the word of what they were feeling underneath. This is literally where I started. So I'm going to give you this exercise, and I would love for you to practice 2 or 3 or 4 times a day, where you simply take a pause. You put your hand on your heart. You don't even have to do that if you don't want. Take a deep breath, breathe out. That helps you get out of your head and into your body. And then simply ask yourself the question, what am I feeling? Don't judge it, right? We don't want you to get into judging it. I just want you to be curious. What am I feeling in this moment? Can you be curious enough to create that relationship with yourself where you're starting to create the emotional fluency and name what you're feeling? So if you find you're feeling anxious, then you can ask yourself the question, what is it that I need to support myself feeling better? That's it. Right? If you're feeling angry, what is it that I need to support myself feeling better? If you're feeling resentful, what do I need to support myself feeling better? If you're feeling happy or joy, amazing. You can just be with that. Like, oh, this feels amazing to feel this. But if you're feeling what we would consider a negative emotion, which I don't think any emotions are negative, some make us feel better than others, we get to choose what we want to do with that information. And emotions are just guideposts. They are information, they are data to help support you making a next choice, a new decision. That's it. So when we are not feeling well, that is feedback so that we can ask better questions, so that we can feel better and make choices that support us feeling better. All right. So I would love for you to practice that exercise and then let me know how it goes. Lonely. So you can be in a crowded room with thousands of people and feel alone. I think that we've all experienced that at some point in time in our lives. So lonely is about tuning in and connecting to yourself. So we live in a world right now where we are more connected than ever, right? Like in 30 seconds, I can be talking to somebody on the other side of the globe. But we are also living in a time when we are more disconnected than we have ever been, right? We're connected to other people and totally disconnected from other people and from ourselves. We got keyboard warriors that think that they can do and say anything they want on the interwebs, right? We hide behind these masks. So I want you to think about, what is the connection that you have with yourself? So as I said, things we love and we value, we take care of. Are you connecting to the relationship with yourself? So with your partner or your kids, if you never gave them any time or attention or care, would those relationships thrive? Is your relationship with yourself thriving, or does connecting with yourself sound like torture? For me, back in the day, sitting in silence with myself, why would I want to do that? This was so loud, but what was going on between my ears was so loud all the time. I was so critical of myself. I had so many thoughts, I had so many things to do. I was creating this busy environment because I didn't want to be present with myself. And many of you struggle with this. So lonely is about that disconnect from self. And until we learn how to go within, connect with ourselves, even if it's a 5-minute pause, it can be sitting in silence. It can be writing in your journal. I love asking myself questions in my journal and then answering, or sometimes I just free script, whatever comes to mind, whatever I need to move through me, thoughts that I'm thinking, feelings that I'm having. But this isn't about stopping. It's just about taking that pause with yourself. So I talk a lot about slowing down, which can create anxiety for A-type people who have big goals and big dreams, and you got lots of stuff to do. We cannot slow down if we don't first learn how to just pause. So I start everybody with just, can you pause? And when you pause, can you be present with yourself? Can you spend some time getting to know yourself better, connecting more with yourself? Instead of that 10 minutes that you have free, instead of going on social media and scrolling stuff that you're not even going to remember an hour from now, what things do you like to do that help you connect in with you? Maybe it's just going for a walk. Maybe it's taking a bath. Maybe that's not your thing. Like I said, maybe it's journaling. Maybe it's just looking outside. Doesn't matter what it is, but taking that time to connect in with yourself. Because if you are disconnected with yourself, if you are running from your emotions, if you're trying to avoid your life thinking that you're going to be able to manage your energy, well, how's that working for you so far? Okay. Now, this is the last one, number 4, which is tired, right? Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Personally, I think that this is number 1, but that wouldn't spell a nice little acronym, so we put it at the end. So you've heard me say before that rest is a success strategy. I want you to think about when we have small children. So even if you don't have your own children, I'm sure you've been around children and you understand that when they are tired, they are little nightmares. Love them, but they are little nightmares. Why do we put children down to have naps? Because we know that if they are tired, they are little nightmares. Yet at some point as adults, we forgot that we also turn into nightmares if we are not well rested. And we're living in a world now that promotes working around the clock. We've got lights so we can stay up late, so we can stay turned on and dialed in, so we can burn the candle at both ends in an attempt to accomplish and achieve the things that we want to achieve. We tend to push harder, and sleep is one of the first things to go. If you are not getting 7 to 8 hours, sometimes some of you even need more than that, a night, your brain is not going to be dialed in. You are not going to be able to perform at your best. And, kudos to my colleague, Melissa Ramos, because she says a tired brain is an asshole. And I absolutely agree. On the days where I have not gotten enough rest, it is so much more challenging to manage and mitigate the chatter that goes on between my ears. It is so much harder to stay grounded and not throw my podcast mic against the wall when I haven't had enough rest. And I'm sure you have examples in your own life where you've been tired and you haven't behaved well. You haven't showed up as your best self. So if you want to be able to manage your energy, you want to be able to manage your emotions, you want to be able to perform at your best, rest needs to be your number 1 strategy, and really taking responsibility for getting to bed on time, or maybe having that cat nap during the day and not making it mean anything or write stories about it. Rest is imperative. As an athlete, we don't grow, we don't get better when we're in the gym. It's when we're out of the gym and our body is recovering and resting. That's what allows us to create the gains that we want. And this is true for everything. Okay. So now that you know and understand these pieces of HALT, hungry, angry, lonely, tired, what I want you to understand is that if you have 2 or more of these things at play, you are going to be leaking energy everywhere. So even if you have 1, right, you're tired, that's going to spin you off. But I will tell you, if you're tired, you're going to have a harder time managing your nutrition. You're going to have a harder time managing your emotions, like we just talked about. If you have not done anything to connect in with yourself and you're constantly meeting everybody else's needs, and then you skipped breakfast and lunch, how do you think your energy is going to be? So all of these things play into each other. And this is why these are the 4 most practical and easy ways to manage your energy. They are not fancy. They are foundational. And when you master this, regardless of what is going on in your life, you will be able to feel your best, or at least make choices that will support you feeling better. So if I am feeling super angry about something, and I know that it's been too long since I've eaten, chances are I need to just pause, go get a bite to eat before I come back and start my next task. Makes sense? Connecting in with yourself, managing your emotions, nutrition, rest, not fancy, very foundational. And when you really start to live from this place of, am I in HALT? What choice do I need to make right now to get me out of HALT? What choice do I need to make right now to support myself feeling my best or better? Right? Life will get so much easier. I have a lot of things going on in my world right now, and I always come back to this. Always. This is where I start. This is the basics of everything. This is what it means to master self-care. This is what it means to love yourself and have reverence for yourself, both emotionally and for your physical body as well. So I hope that this was helpful for you. I'm praying that when I hit stop, that the audio on this is all right. I hope you enjoyed the episode. And if you are wanting to learn more practical strategies and how to master this in your own life so that you have more than enough energy to do all the things you love, to spend time with all the people that you love, while still making yourself and how you feel a priority, make sure you get on the wait list for my energy audit program. We are going to be launching it very, very soon. lisacarpenter.ca/energy, and you will be the first to know when doors open. So thanks for tuning into another episode. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. And remember, the only person that can make you a priority in your life is you. This, what I just talked about, you can take 100% responsibility for. You can't change anything out there, but you sure as heck can change what's going on in here. And it starts with these pieces. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you on the next episode.